Yes. Metzia daf Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. Morning, everybody. Sorry, we're starting a bit late today. We are in the middle of Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. We're discussing two issues that are interconnected. The two issues. First, I'll tell you where we are. We are in. We're explaining the Braisa of yesterday. Line starts with the word Havi Shikha. Havi Shikha is the middle of the page, more or less. Havi Shikha. And we are learning about the first thing we wanted to talk, we spoke about yesterday was the fact that a chatzer, sometimes the chatzer, for example, chatzer she'eina mishtameres, a field that is not guarded, a field that is not kept naturally, that doesn't have a fence, let's say, such a field needs somebody, the owner, next to it in order to have kinyan chatzer. Then we wanted to prove it. We wanted to prove it from where? We wanted to prove it from a Braisa. And that Braisa had to do with Shikha. What is the mitzvah of Shikha? If the person forgot something in the field, when I say something, I mean he forgot to either harvest some wheat or barley or whatever, or he forgot the bundle, then he's not supposed to go back and get it and harvest it, and it stays there for the anim. Okay, it stays for the poor people. Now, what? It's hefker only for anim. It's a very interesting thing. It's hefker la'anim. If you have more than 200 zuz, which I hope you do, then you're not eligible. If you don't have 200 zuz, they're in the club, and everybody can get it from the anim, men, women, whoever. Now, we spoke about, there was a Braisa that started very esoterically, and now the Braisa the Gemara will explain what the Braisa said. Before that, I want to tell you the beautiful explanation based on the Ran. Every normal shikha has to have two people or two groups of people forgetting, the workers and the owner. If both workers and the owner forgot the bundle in the field, then it is shikha. And a person, says Tosfos, says the Ran, a person can never make a t'nai, can never say, I'm making now a t'nai, that even if I will forget it, it will not be shikha. That's ridiculous, because we're working against the Torah. Because we're going to see something similar. And I want to stand in the soapbox right at the start of this year. Sometimes somebody told me that some Rabbanim gave heter. It's a very funny thing. Rabbanim gave heter that people who marry off their children, I don't judge them, miskanim, they don't have money. So they make it now, before they enter the room to make it now with the mechotanim, they tell people, everything I will promise the mechotanim now is a lie. I will not really keep it. And then they say to the mechotanim, yeah, I'll give $500,000, but they told people before that they won't do it. I don't know which Rav allows it. I'd like to get to know him. But basically, okay, atzlacha. In any event, you can't just make funny conditions prior to other things. So, however, if you remember the Mishnah from yesterday, the Braisa, we spoke about somebody who does make some kind of t'nai. What is a t'nai? Let's read inside. This is what the Braisa of yesterday meant. Besode, if you're in the field, then if the Baal Habais is still in the field, is about maybe to leave the field, but he's still in the field, and he wants to make the following condition: Shachuach mikoroi have shikha, which means shachuach mikora means right from the start. Mikora means the workers at the beginning of the process forgot it, yeah, and so did the Baal Habais. That's shikha, as I said, right from the start. Both workers and owner, they forgot. They forgot the bundle. Then it's a shikha. What's a chiddush? Even if he says, yeah, at some point he says, let's say afterwards, he says, no, really, even though we both forgot it, I'm making a condition that it will not be shikha. I'm now remembering afterwards. And now I'm making it night that if I forget again, you will not be shikha. It's already shikha, shtiyot. There is no such thing. However, yeah, aval, yeah, 1 minute. Aval, besod shekuach zochur, v'lebasof shekuach ein shikha. Oh, Zachor b'sof shachuach ein shikha, which means Zachor b'sof shachuach is like this. Let's say it's Zachor by the Balabais remembered. The Balabais did remember. Yeah, yeah. Balabais remember. The workers forgot, and the Balabais he did remember. Okay. At the beginning, only the workers forgot. The Balabais actually did remember at this point, and at this point where he still remembers, before he forgot again, which he may, he says at this point, this is a very interesting point between the two forgettings. The Balabais remembers at this point. Oh, says the Ran, at this point when they forget and he remembers, if he will forget here, then what's going to happen? There will be shikha. But at the moment when only they forgot and he didn't, you only pressed on one, only the plus and not the minus of the electric circuit, you're halfway there. That situation, says Ran, is very cool. Says Ran, it does not belong to the owner yet, already, but the anim didn't yet get it. It's halfway out. It's halfway out of his hand. Why? Because it's almost out. The one box is ticked, but the other isn't ticked. At this moment, the Poyalim forgot, the Balbai still remembers. At this point, he declares, and he says, even if I forget it later, I now declare, because it's not yet completely out of my hands, it's halfway through, because the Poyalim forgot, but I remember, here I can make a declaration and say, I hereby declare that even if I forget later, it will not be shikha. That works. That does work. He now says, I remember now. I'm chapping it. I'm catching it now before I also forget, because the anim didn't yet get it, because we don't have both parties forgetting yet. Yeah. Mimela, it is a shikha. It's not shikha. You can make it 9, say even future shikha will not apply. My time. How does that work? How does the mechanism work? Yeah. Says the Gemara, and here we get to our point. The cave and the kai gabo, because he's in the field, he's right now in the field when he declares, I'm catching it, so to speak, mentally, and I'm not allowing myself to forget it, and even if I forget it, it's nothing. He's standing there. Mazel tov. Because he's standing by the chatzer, and because kinyan chatzer can apply, because kinyan chatzer is what? Because kinyan chatzer applies when you stand next to the item. He's standing next to the item called what? Called bundles of wheat, and he's regaining it from the anim's half ownership. That works. Aval ba'ir, but in the city, afilu zochur b'sof shekuach habishikha. Let's say wants to play the same shtick in the city. He already left the field. He already put on his jacket and is on his way to Mincha. He's in the city. And he goes like, they forgot the bundle, but I didn't. All the way through, all the way to town while I was driving my car. I remembered all the time the bundles. I remember them now. Now he says, when we're halfway, they forgot, but I remembered, and he wants to say, even if I will forget, it will be nothing. Doesn't help. If he forgets later, he forgets. Yeah, let's say it's 6 o'clock in the evening. He arrived in town and he makes his pompous, he's in town already, left field, and he makes his pompous declaration and he says, even if I forget, I hereby declare in front of 10 people, doesn't have 10 people yet, that even if I forget, it's nothing. No, it's not nothing. If it will forget it at 6:10, then it's shikha, my time. Why is it that this condition does not work if you're in town when you're halfway through? Because he's not standing now by the wheat, and he's not standing by the field. He's not standing by the field because the field is eina mishtameres, and he's not standing next to his field. Mimela, that's not koina for you. If I am now in Bes Medrash, and let's say I have some garage, thank you. If I have some kind of open field, an open machsan, and I'm now here and the items are over there, I'm not koina. That's how we proved our point. Chatzer she'ena mishtameres, an open field, needs somebody next to it. And that's the difference between the city and the field. Meaning it's not Zeres HaKosuv, it's not a hocus pocus, is just affected by the field. He's actually there to quickly regain it while only halfway out. Beautiful idea of the run. Yeah. That's in the field. Hop it quickly before I forget. Yeah. I'm still remembering. It's halfway out. Whoop, I'm getting it whoop, back from Tannaim. When? That's when I'm still by the field. But when I'm out of the field in the city, or could be in somewhere else, wherever it is, yeah, already away from the field, that is too late, and it cannot regain the stuff that your Pa'alim forgot, and you remember, you can't regain it, and therefore you later on forgot. That's it. Gamarnu. Then now both forgot. Gamarnu chikha. Frag the Gemara mimai. How do you know? Finish. Frag the Gemara mimai. How do you know? Very nice Braisa. You're trying to derive something from the Braisa. How do you know? Dilma, maybe Xeris Kosovi. Maybe there's a simple Xeris Kosov. You're reading so much into this Braisa, kinyan chatzer. How do you derive your kinyan chatzer business from the Braisa? It's a simple Xeris Kosov. I'm from Yid. Why don't you eat chazer? You can say lots of lofty ideas. Why don't you eat chazer? At the end of the day, it's Xeris Kosov, right? A lot of nice going out there with chazer, you know. It's Xeris Kosov. Maybe just Xeris Kosov. The besod and heavy shikha. Ubeir, lan heavy shikha. Rabbi, don't get too philosophical over here, Frek the Gemara. Maybe there's a simple, old-fashioned Xeris Kosov that in the field there is shikha applies always, and in the city shikha does not apply. Do you know why? Because it says in the Bible, when the Torah talks about shikha, it says shachachta omer basade. You forget your omer in the sode. I think sode means field, if I'm not mistaken. So shikha applies in the field always, and in the city doesn't apply because your tefillin has to be black. Why? Because Hashem decided. It's not because of this whole philosophy of kinyan chatzer versus non-kinyan chatzer, oimed, not oimed. That's Gemara's very simple and straight claim. Okay, I will not let you wait anymore. Yeah. Answers the Gemara. No, you cannot say that. It's very nice that the pasuk only talks about field and not city, but the pasuk adds extra words, and there are no extra words in the Torah. You always have to learn something. The extra words loy toshuv lekachto, it says that belong to the lo toshuv lekachto. That is telling me to include and also add shikha sa'ir. That if you forgot it in town, it is called shikha, and Alan, then Danim can come and take it when we know that the shikha of the ear is really, yes, included. So the shikha of the ear is shikha. So I am right that only in that very twisted specific case of Poyalim forgot, and he didn't yet forget in the ear, then he cannot make the declaration. Only then it's not shikha, because he cannot make that declaration because it's not next to his field. So I'm right with my proof that not being next to the field is not koine to me. Can't make funny declarations when I'm not next to the field. Frag the Gemara, because really be'etzem, generally, shikha otherwise does apply in the city. Yeah? Let's say the Pa'alim forgot, and the Baalim never remembered either, and they forgot when they happened to be in the city, and then shikha does apply. Shikha does apply. Only when they forgot and I remembered, and I didn't yet forget, and I quickly managed to chaperine in the city, then we say, no, you can't chaperine anymore. You can't chaperine because you're too far away, and that's it. Now, hi, Frag the Gemara, you're telling me the pasuk loy toshuv lekachtoi is an extra pasuk, extra words to add the shikha in town? Hi, mibai lelalav. What are you talking about? It's not extra words. The words loy toshuv lekachtoi are telling you the mitzvah loy taseh, the love, the prohibition of not taking the shikha that belongs to the anim. Nothing extra. There's an aseh and lo taseh. You leave it for the anim, and you are not allowed to take it. It's not an extra word. It's a very, very, very basic love of the story. So Mimela, you don't have over here extra to tell me not only field, also sode. So back to square one, we're saying no, it does not apply in the city at all. Says the Gemara, no, im ken. If you want to tell me lo toshuv lekachto is just telling you the love, name akra lo tikachenu. If the Torah only wanted to tell me the prohibition of taking the shikha, the Torah should have said, loy tikochenu, don't take it. My loy toshuv, the Torah is using an extra word, don't return to take it. Yeah, get it? It doesn't say don't take it, don't go back, don't return to take it. What's this return business? It's an extra word. Of course, I return to take something I forgot. You always forget something and you go back. Here, the Torah tells you don't go back. Yeah, but that's so it's an extra word to say don't go back to take. Just say don't take. The Rabba Shikha Sa'ir must be again back where the ping pong is back. That extra word toshuv is coming to add the shikha of the ear is shikha. Yes, it is shikha conceptually, unless da 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 da. But kikaron conceptually, forgetting in time is shikha, as we said before. No, we still need the word loy toshuv. We need it for something else. Oh, my artistic abilities are going to shine again. Yeah, and I'll tell you the following case. How does shikha exactly work? Let's say the person is, this is a bird's eye view. Yeah, the person, these are wheats. Yeah, okay. The person is Mr. Harvester. What does he do? He actually goes and he cuts. Okay, I should use something more aesthetic and more hygienic here. He's harvesting, 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 harvesting. Okay, harvesting, and oops, oh, he forgot that. Look, he harvested that and he forgot that behind him. Now don't go back to take it. If you are, this is your route, don't go back to take this one, right? That's lo toshuv l'kachtoi. If you have a bundle behind you, don't go back to take it, because that's it. Once behind you, you lost and you gained the mitzvah. However, look at the following case. Let's say the person's direction is, look at that, he's like that, he's going forwards, 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 yeah? And he's so shakua in the shear that he listens on his phone to a shear, and he actually forgot what it's ahead of him and he went like this to cut these ones. He forgot those ahead of him. You can come. Yeah, he's actually now, yeah, he forgot those bundles ahead of him, which he saw. Then he forgot them and he continued over here. He's continuing now to cut, 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 cut over here. Now these he should be taking. They're not shikha. Because he forgot them ahead of him and not behind him, the entire time they're ahead of him, right? Look at that N-shaped root. They're all the time ahead of him over here, these two that he forgot. So these two he is allowed to take back. They're not called shikha, okay? Only if you went here and went back. To go back, you don't go back. But if you went forwards and you retracted before you actually harvested them, then it's not called shikha. How do you know all that? From the very same pasuk. Look at the Gemara. We still need the words loy toshuv, not in order to tell me about city or shmiti. It's telling you what? Look at it now. It's telling me something else, as it says in the Mishnah. Shelafonov ein shikha. If any bundles were forgot ahead of him, and then he went whoop to the other line, but he forgot what's ahead and never surpassed them, never went ahead of them, they're not physically behind him. Look, that shows you can forget something ahead of you. The guy's a spaceship, yeah? Sheshalfanov is not shikha. Shalacharov, yes, shikha. Only what's behind him is shikha. Shehi bebal toshuv. Oh, in other words, why does he say don't return? No, the words don't return are not extra. It's telling you that the mechanism, the geography of shikha is only achrav. If it's behind you, oh, you forgot what's behind, don't go back to take it. But if you forgot something ahead of you and you went back, but the item is still ahead of you, then you still are allowed to take it. That's the rule. Called shube bal toshuv shikha. If it's something that involves bal toshuv, don't go back, it's shikha. Whatever is not bal toshuv, ain't a shikha. So now, where are we holding now? By the way, the zaklal says Tosfos is to include what's over here, the Karen Zovis. Yeah, let's say forgot stuff that's diagonally next to you. It's also not shikha. Not ahead of you and not diagonally. Only things behind you are considered shikha. So where are we holding now? So basically, let's not get confused. We're saying as of now, the pasuk bal toshuv l'kachtoi is lo toshuv l'kachto is required for other things. So we do not have any pasuk that tells me the shikha of town is not shikha. So shikha in town is shikha conceptually, generally. Oh, so why is our guy, our hero of the story, has a different issue? Why is that? Because why? Because of the own story of Daladamos, of kinyan chatzer. Omar Avashi comes Ravashi, and that's a conclusion. Omar Kro here lerabo shikha sa'ir. Oh, so I'm sorry. No, I missed an item. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I missed an item here. I missed one point here. The pasuk, unless you include shikha sa'ir, if you just read the pasuk in the Torah as it is, it says sadeh. You have something in the sode, you forgot it, it's shikha, it goes to danim. Mashma, if you forgot it not in the sode, you forgot it in town, you forgot it in Besmedrash, you forgot it in Besamikdash, wherever you are, it's not called shikha, right? So not because of her whole story with the chotzer mishtameres. That's exeris hakosu. That's supposed to. Beautiful. Oh, now maybe you want to come and tell me, no, we're adding shikha sa'ir because of loy toshuv lekachtoi. No, lo toshuv lekachtoi comes to tell me what? To tell me this story, that shikha in the field only applies in the field. Shikha only applies when it's behind you, not when it's ahead of you. So we still do not have a source for shikha sa'ir. So shikha sa'ir is just not there. Nothing to do with our story of Dal Damas or of Soda Mishtameres, Chotzer Mishtameres. And says the Gemara Ravashi, Omer Kro, Yiyeh Lerabo Shikha Sa'ir. That's a maskone. The Gemara, the Torah, at the end of the pasuk, towards the end of the pasuk, says, Lager la'almon la'yosef la'almona Yiyeh. It will be. It's an extra word. Who will have it? The ger Yosef almona, the convert, who's usually poor, the orphan, the widow. These people are going to have the shikha. What do you mean they will have it? Of course they'll have it. What do you think? That's the whole thing. Here, the word here comes to add also shikha sa'ir. So conceptually shikha sa'ir, that's a maskana. I promise you this time it's a maskana. Shikha sa'ir applies. So the only reason why our guy does not have shikha is why? Because he's not standing next to the Daladamos. Yeah? In other words, that guy not standing, excuse me, I keep saying Daladamos by mistake. This guy is not standing next to his what? To his field. He is in the city. He wants to make funny conditions, which would otherwise work in the Sode, but don't work in the city. Why? He wants to say, my Paralim forgot. I remember. I want the Shikha, which does apply in the city. Now everything is connected. Conceptually, Shikha applies in the city. It does apply in the city. And I know it. I'm not an Amoritz. He learned the halachas before he started the new startup, the field. And what? And now, what does he say? I want my future shikha not to apply. I want to chap it now when the shikha is not fully fledged, when it's only pe'alim and not me. In the city, it doesn't work. Because really, you want to make like a kinyan. It's already halfway sneaked out of your fingers already. You want to get it back? Getting it back, mister, does not work. You cannot retrieve it back because why? You are not in the field. So you can't be coin of those bundles that are already halfway under the ownership of that need. No, the pasuk only tells you very general ideas. The pasuk only tells you one thing innocently, that shikha conceptually applies in the city. That's all. No, it does. The pasuk without hiye is only the field. The word hiye comes to include also applies in the city. And you know what? It does apply shikha in the city. It does. However, this guy wants to play funny things. It doesn't work. And actually his shikha would apply. The shikha would apply there too. Why? Because he cannot say, I'm quickly hopping it before it's too late, before I forget. No, once you're in the town, you can't get it back. And if they forgot it, and you will forget it in 5 minutes, once you hit that second button, and you will forget, you will forget also, not just them, the owner will forget, in town, boom, it will apply. And you'll be, shikha will apply, and the anim are going to have a feast. It means one thing, that there will be a whole 500 anim jumping over the shikha. I don't think so. He himself can be koine. No, good question. I don't think the shliach. Ellen is asking a question. Do we say that the shliach, can the shliach actually, can the owner send the shliach? The answer is I don't think so, because if he cannot be kohen, the shliach cannot be kohen either. I cannot send a shliach for somebody to get my truma for me. Why? Because I'm not a kohen. You cannot do, a shliach cannot do more than you can do. So if you don't have the ability of being kohen because you're incapacitated, you're whatever, you don't have the ability, you're unable to make the kinyan because you're not next to the field. I don't think your son can do it for you. Because you are intrinsically far away. It's not a technical thing. As opposed to Kiddushin, when someone's sweetheart is in New York and he's in Bnei Brak, the etzem he can be Mekadisher, it's just technically far away. Here it's not a technical thing. Here the fact he's not next to the field means he does not have kinyan chatzer. I think so. It's a good question. And maybe it's a discussion in the Achronim. Chavrusa is far away in London, and I'm not bothering him all the time. I don't think he can do it because I think the distance from the chatzer is not a technical thing. You are really kilu not the owner of the chatzer vis-a-vis that. So your son or whoever can do more than you can do. Shliach never ever has powers more than the meshalech, more than the sender. But interessant. It's a nice question. Tell your wife that you excelled in your studies. Sweet. His future? How? Okay. Seder. Hashem Osid. Tithe. V'chein Omar Ula. I mean, my fault I came late today, but let's continue. V'chein Omar Ula. And so said Ula v'hu shomer b'tzad sadeu. Ula, the Amora, says also, only if the person stands next to his field, only then the chatzer is koine, if it's not mishtameres. V'chein Omar Rabban Gamliel v'hu shomer b'tzad sadeu. We have a whole cadre of Amoraim over here, big Amoraim. They say only when you're next to your field, that the field is koine. Everything could have been so nice and idyllic, but here comes a big question. Remember the names, it's important. Rabbi Abba is questioning Ula. What did Ula just say a second ago? Ula is in the party that believes that kinyan chatzer, sheina mishtameres, only applies when the chatzer is, when the person is next to his chatzer. The chatzer is not guarded. I'm the guard. If I stand next to it, that compensates for that. Rabbi Abba is not questioning Ula from the following Braisa. I think it's a Braisa. Ma'aseh Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel and other elders, other scholars, other Tannaim, Shoyboim Besfina. They were on a ship, they were on a boat, on a cruise. And Rabban Gamliel was very concerned because Rabban Gamliel and the Tannaim lived in a land called Eretz Yisrael. And in Eretz Yisrael, you have Maisres. And Rabban Gamliel had, according to Rashi, Rabban Gamliel had stuff in his kitchen, or stuff not in the kitchen, in the field, or in his granary that is not gemeisered. It was tevel, and a Talmid Chacham never ever allows non-meiser stuff to be in his house. It's chazaka Talmid Chacham that the second something comes to your house, the fruit, you right away take meiser. You're welcome to visit Bnei Brak, and there they meiser everything, bamba or even their products. The meiser and the meiser right away, it comes up straight away. They take the meiser. So now, Rabban Gamliel said, "Oy, I have stuff at home which is not meisered, and I'm far away. Is there a way to do it by Zoom? Is there a way to do it by WhatsApp? How do you take meiser? He's in a boat in the Mediterranean, far away, and this is in his house." According to Tosfos, that was not the issue. According to Tosfos, his issue was not that there was no meiser taken. The meiser was separated. The meiser was mufrash, was separated. But we all know that in Erev Pesach of the 4th year and Erev Pesach of the 7th year of Shemitah, you have to do biur meisres. In other words, if you are like, person who works slowly and you have all your meisres in the corner, they're preserved, they don't rot. You, let's say, keep your meiser oni from the 3rd year, let's say to the 4th year, 5th year, 6th year, but the 7th year, you have to give it before Pesach, you have to give it to the anim. The same thing, Meiser Rishon, you have to give to Levi the deadline of not just a frosho, of actually giving and getting rid of it and giving it to the right address, Meiser Rishon to the Levi, before that, Truma Gdoilo to the Kohen, Meiser Oni, Bechula to the Oni, and the deadline was approaching. According to Tosfos, the Meiser was mufrash but wasn't yet given to the right people that's supposed to get it. And that was the concern of Rabban Gamliel. Okay, but Lamaisa, Rabban Gamliel is now under pressure because he has to get rid and he has to give those meisters to the right place. Mazel Tov, Rabban Gamliel is surrounded by good people. Rabban Gamliel in the boat had with him, he had a Levi, and he had a Gabbai Tzedakah for the Anim. So he wants now to be makne to them. He wants to do something very 2022. He wants to do some kind of remote control Wi-Fi kinyan. And he wants to give those fruit that are in his house, hundreds of kilometers away. He wants to give it to the people on the boat, one of them Levi, and one of them representing the Anim, we'll see soon Rabbi Akiva, and that's how it's going to work. Question is, how does he do it? How do you do kinyan of something so far away when you're on a boat? Amar Rabban Gamliel, says Rabban Gamliel, now you understand the story. Isu shani osid lomud, the meiser which I will be measuring later when I come home. That, by the way, stands better with Rashi. The meiser that's, let's say, in a certain corner in my field. We're not discussing now Ein Brera Yesh Brera, the futuristic vort here that he will take it. Let's say the meiser is designated now in the corner, and that isur nosun liYoshua. I'm giving it to Yoshua. Who's Yoshua? Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya was there with him in the boat, and he's a Levi. Baruch Hashem. What do you have to do with the meiser rishon? Give it to a Levi. Here. Anybody a Levi? Anybody a Levi? Levi. Like a Kriyas HaTorah. Who is a Levi? Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya. Great. That meiser will be his, belonging to him right now. What do you mean belonging? How does it work? By words only? The place where this is that right northern corner, let's say, of the machsan, of that granary of the field, which may not be mishtamer, by the way, that mekoimoi muskarloi, I rent it out to him. I give him the rent. He gives me money for rent. He'll give me money to rent it. Could be 2 shekels or 1 zuz, yeah. And now, what does he own? He owns the area, and he's kinyan kinyan chatzer. Lovely. In other words, yeah, we're playing a game here, but it's a real game. It's real. The halacha works. In other words, part of my field where the fruit are, the actual ground now is rented to Harav Yoshua ben Chananya. He gave me money for it. Let's say, not a joke. Muskarlo for money, very nice. Sachar he gave, and now all the fruit that are there, which correspond to my Sarishon, which is the 10th of my produce, they belong to him. The kinyan chatzer, lovely. The isu acher, the second meiser, that year was a meiser oni. I'm following Rashi now. It was meiser oni year, the 3rd or the 6th. The isu acher, the other meiser shani osid lomud, which I will be giving, belongs to Nosun Akiva ben Yosef, the famous Rabbi Akiva. Why him? Because Rabbi Akiva, I want him to be like the hand, the one who is kind of for the anim. He's a kupa shel tzedakah. He's laman chai, Rabbi Akiva, and basically he will be the hand of the anim. He's their representatives. But how does it work? Same thing. The place is rented out for Rabbi Akiva. Mimela, those, what's the names? Those apples, oranges, wheat, barley, that are, let's say, in the south corner of my field, those fruit are now lying in a part of the field that is rented out to Rabbi Akiva. So now it's his, what? It's his field for the moment, and it's going to be kinyan chatzer. Lovely. By the way, before we continue, did you notice that one meiser is sorely missing, and that's Truma Gdoilo? Says Toyses, Truma Gdoilo gave already before. Because Truma Gdoilo is very, very easy to give. Before his journey, Truma Gdoilo, you can take midoraisa, you can take 1 grain, quickly give it to the coin, and goodbye. The other meisers are much bigger. You need 1/10 of the whole thing. Or that could be a ton of wheat. So he just didn't have time, maybe, or whatever. He needed to go quickly on the trip, so that was a bigger story. In any event, yeah, quick, yeah. Soon, what are you talking? What's going on over here? The Rabbi Yeshua Rabbi Akiva, 4th line. Boom. That's a whopping question against Ula. They're not standing there. They were very far away. You're telling me that for kinyan chatzer, you have to be adjacent. You have to stand there like a proud soldier right next to the field. That's not next to the field. They're in the boat cruising away, and the field is far away. How's it koine? Amarle. So now Ula's answer is very terse, and I don't understand it. Domi Haimi Rabbanon. This Rav seems to be Kedeloi Gamri Inchishmaita. Looks to me like you don't know what you're talking about. Looks to me like you didn't learn properly. You didn't learn your stuff. You didn't explain why. But it says your question is not a question. You look like you didn't learn enough before you ask your question. Yeah, you think I'm tough? Look at that. Yeah. So okay. Now the question is why. Basically, Ravina still remains with the question. Quick questions before we continue. Jason, Yaakov, good. Yeah, fine. Yosef, okay. Answers the Gemara, not answers, continues the Gemara, because I don't yet understand. I'm a little guy. It's a good question. They're not standing next to the field. So how is the field koine all these fruit that you want them to be koine b'maiser? Answers continues the Gemara. He also Surah. Eventually, Ravina came to Surah of Talmid Chachomim. Omar lehu. He told the people in Surah, the Talmid Chachomim, Hachi Omar Ula. This is what Ula said. What did Ula say? That you have to stand next to your field in order to be koinikin in chatzer. The Achiot say, and this is what I asked him. Omar lehu Rabbanon. One of the yeshiva bachrim there of the Avrechim, where in Surah now answered this question, and he said like this: Rabban Gamliel metalteli agav mekaki ikna lahem. Ay, what an answer! You misunderstood. There are two kinyanim that if you're not a Talmid Chacham, you can make an easy mistake between them because they're like similar, but they're not at all the same. There's kinyan chatzer and there's kinyan agav. What's kinyan agav? Kinyan agav means, as we spoke many times, yeah, Dushin, Daf Chavov, yeah, many other places. Kinyan agav is what? I makne to you my field. I makne to you my field with the same way field is being nikne, kesef, shtar, or chazoko. Now I also have a whole bunch of metaltalin also to be makne to you, right? And you don't want to start picking up all the metaltalin. I'm selling you a shoe factory with all the shoes inside. Are you insane? You'll expect me to do hagbah on all the shoes? There are 2,000 boxes there. What do? Give me a pruta, give me a shtal, yeah? And the factory's land, the kaka, the body of the place, the building is nikne, and we verbally decide that the kinyan that works for the land also works for the metaltalin. It's not kinyan chatzer. Yeah? Why? Kinyan chatzer means I'm koine chatzer. The chatzer is mine, always was mine. And now whatever is in the chatzer automatically is mine. I'm not koine it in any way. The chatzer is koine it for me. And it has to be inside the chatzer. Kinyan agav, no. Kinyan agav means the same kinyan in which I was koine the chatzer now also works, the kinyan works for the metaltalin. And by the way, the metaltalin don't have to be inside the chatzer. Even if the shoe boxes are outside the factory, I'm also coining them. That's a huge, clear difference between chotzer and agav. In agav, the kinyan works for the chotzer, bread and butter. At the same time, it's also together, I'm coining the metaltalin with the same kinyan that it was coining the land, but they don't have to be together. Shenkin chotzer, if I have a chotzer, whatever's inside of it is nikne to me. You know what? You're asking chotzer? No, it's kinyan agav. Kinyan agav. Basically, with the same money, with the same puruta, with the same whichever kinyan, let's say kinyan of the money, there was makne to them the piece of land. With that same money, it was also makne to them the fruit. But it's not chotzer, it's agav. Is they're koine in one package deal, the karka and the metaltalin. And the kinyan agav, you don't have to be present. Kinyan agav, you don't have to be next to your field. Only in chotzer, because this is kinyan agav, nothing to do with chotzer. You're attacking ula because you assume it's kinyan chatzer. It's not chatzer, it's agav. It's not a leopard, it's a cheetah. For us, they look alike. They're not alike at all, right? It's two different animals, two different things. Rabbi Zera Kibla, Rabbi Zera, which did not appear before in the sugya, Rabbi Zera, I assume, was there listening, and he accepted, and he said, wow, that's a nice teretz. It was not a kinyan chatzer, it's a kinyan agav. So you're attacking me from chatzer? Nothing to do with chatzer. Rabbi Abba loy kibla. Rabbi Abba himself, the one who initiated this investigation, the question, he did not accept that answer to say it's a kinyan agav. Why not? Why doesn't he think it's a good answer to say kinyan agav, the koine, the piece of field, the piece of land, and then the same kinyan together, 1, 2, 3, applies straight away to the fruit. Rava says, good, very good, that he did not accept that answer of what? The answer that this is kinyan. Agav, it's good he didn't accept it, because something here doesn't make sense to say that it's kinyan agav. Why? And now we come to another issue. Before we continue, I want to tell you one thing. When we're holding now the word Kabbalah, Kibla, yeah, the word Kibla, and then the word V'chi. Before we continue to V'chi, I want to ask you a question. Those fruit that Rabban Gamliel is so concerned about and wants to give them away, do they fully belong to Rabban Gamliel? Right. He separates them and he wants to give them to someone. Who do they really belong to? No. Before he actually gave it to a specific person. What? No, he's the owner of the land. No, before he started the process. Those fruit, he has to give them to Anim. So really, they belong to the collective hand, the collective ownership of the Anim. Or Meiser Rishon belongs to Levim. I have no permission to eat it. I have to give it to a Levi. So my only ownership is only what's called Toivas Hano, the right to decide which Levi will get it. I like Levinson and not Levinstein. I'm not saying the Levim, yeah? I only like Levi and not Levis. I like this guy, not that guy. That choice, that power to choose between which Levi to give, that is what he owns here. But it's not full ownership over the fruit. So now that changes the picture. Because really the kinyan he wants to give them is something much more, how do you say it? No, much less concrete, much more foggy, much more nebulous. Yeah, it's not something concrete because you're only giving them, you makne to them, that choice, I chose you over the other, but I owe it anyhow to everybody in the Shevet of the Levi. So now we have all new understanding. With that in mind, let's continue. Says Rav as follows. Wait a second. If you really think that, why is it that Rabban Gamliel is so stuck and he has to think of all these innovative ideas and all these inventions? Wasn't there a Sudar? Have you ever been, sorry for this stupid question, have you ever been to a Vort, to Tannaim, to a Chasana, to kinyan, to Bechiras Chometz? Ever sold Chometz in your life? Why does a rabbi take this and picks it up? It's kinyan Sudar, kinyan Chalipin, yeah, which means we are switching. Rabban Gamliel could have actually said, you give me a handkerchief, or a sudar, a kippah, and in return, symbolically, I'll give you the fruit that's in my house. You don't have to come to all these chatzer and agav. You could have done it so easily. Rabban Gamliel could have done kinyan chlipin, which is symbolic kinyan. Yeah, give me an item of yours, Rabbi Akiva, let's say, and I'll give you in return the fruit. Why didn't it occur to them? These are Tannaim. Ela, you know why they didn't do it? Because it wouldn't have worked. Ela toivas sano eina momoin liknos mimenu b'chalipin. Oh, toivas sano is not enough of money. It's not something real enough, concrete enough. Yeah, it's too foggy. It's too airy fairy thing. What? Esoteric. Thank you. That's what my wife says. And liknos mimenu b'chalipin. In other words, chalipin only works with real hard cash or hard fruit. If I sell you real fruit that belonged to me and I'm selling it to you, something very clear, chalipin works. Yeah. So kinyan only works. Some kinyanim only work for something that's real money, not something you anyhow owed, and it's only my choice to direct it to you and not direct it to the other Levi or the other Oni. It just doesn't work. Ochonami here too. Toiva sano eina moment liknas al gabe karka. So to Toiva Sano, just the choice of giving it to one Levi over the other is not something you can be kinyan agav. Kinyan agav means hard cash. I'm koine, I makne to you land, and with the land, I makne to you fruit. I'm not makne to you the choice, the shmois, there's something in the air. In that respect, kinyan chatzer is better. Why? Kinyan chatzer is kind of anything. Says Rashi beautifully, why is kinyan chatzer better? Why can kinyan chatzer koina airy fairy stuff? You know why? I'll tell you why. Who's kinyan chatzer's best friend? Hefker. If you remember, we kept talking about Hefker. Kinyan chatzer is like a catch-all. It's like the fish that eats all the food that all the other fish don't like. That's kinyan chatzer. Kinyan chatzer is basically anything that falls into the chatzer, even hefker, even anything, is automatically mine. That's what he's doing here. Once the fruit happened to be lying in the chatzer, now owned by the Rabbi Akiva, yeah, let's say Rabbi Yoshua, that chatzer, whatever happens to be in it, whether it's something hardcore or something which is not so, something more foggy, lemaisa, anything is just kinda just like hefker is nikne. So to this, when you talk about chalipin, you have to give something real for something real. But this is hefker. Like it's not worse than hefker. Even hefker stuff is nikne when it's inside mechotzer. Good. So also that partially owned fruit is also nikne. That's why Davka don't accept the answer, and it's good, Ravina. Ravina keep asking your question. He's being he's cheering Ravina along. Yeah, you're asking a good question. We can't say this is a kinyan agav because kinyan agav does not work for what? Does not work for things that are not concrete. Elamait chotzer. So it's a good question. You see them not standing next to the chotzer, and I'm claiming against Ula's words. And how does he know that? He knows all that because they did not do chalipin. Just like chalipin doesn't work for something, yeah, not so concrete, so too, yeah, we say the same, yeah, just like chalipin, so too agav doesn't work for things that are not concrete enough. Says the Gemara, Veloy. The Gemara rejects that too. You know why they didn't use kinyan sudar? For a different reason. You're misinterpreting their behavior of the gedolim, which many people do. You're misinterpreting the behavior of the Tannaim, and you think they didn't use a sudar because Tovasana is not strong enough. No, that's not the reason. They did not use sudar for another reason. What is the reason? Matnas kehuna, when we talk about matnas kehuna, for example, Meiser of the Levi, kehuna, Levia, the matanos of the Meisras, Nesina ksiva behu. When it talks about giving something to the Kohen, to the Levi, it says you should give. Giving, when you say give a gift means what? You don't take anything in return. Chalipin doesn't smell nice, doesn't look right. Derech mekachu memkaru. It's derech mekachu memkaru. Ay. That's the reason. Which means, really, to be kohen b'toivasano, as much as you call it something so, what's the word you're using? Esoteric, is not something so real. Lamaisi, you could be koine it with chalipin, but chalipin and matnas keuna, they don't work hand in hand. You know why? Because the kinyan chalipin means swapping, switching. Give me this and I'll give you that. It's a wheeling dealing thing. It's giving one thing for the other. That's not matnas keuna. Matnas keuna means you give and you don't get anything in return. So even though it's only symbolic, and even though Rabban Gamliel will return them the handkerchief in a second, but if you give the coin matnas kehuna and in return you take something, nah, that's not derech haTorah. That's not how the Torah wants it to work. But that's only a local problem by kinyan sudar, by kinyan chalipin. However, betaltalin agav mekarka nesina limtahi. Ay. Betaltalin over karka. If you want to sell, not sell exactly. If you want to give the fruit of the meiser by agav, I'm only giving and giving for free. I'm giving you my land for it's a matana, and agav the matana of giving you the piece of land, I'm also giving you the matana, the wheat and barley, with the same matana. Givaldig, very good. That's actually very good. And Mimeila, you could say that they're koine how that the koine the kinyan agav, and that would be a good answer. The what? Really, the kinyan was kinyan agav and not kinyan chatzer. It was a kinyan agav, and that's why they don't have to be present. Kinyan chatzer, you have to be next to the chatzer. Kinyan agav, no. Kinyan agav is a completely different story, and you don't have to be next to it. Questions? Sorry. Second answer to the question, Rav Papa Omar, and we'll only read the beginning of that. Rav Papa wants to give another answer to the question. If you require chatzer for this person to stand next to the chatzer, why is it that they were koine while they were so far away? Kinyan chatzer. Papa Omar das acheres makna oison shiny, which means like this: to be koine from hefker is much harder. Hefker, there's nobody else to actually activate the mechira from the selling side. It's hefker. Then you need to stand next to your field because you have to do everything on your own. You have to be the daddy and the mommy. You have to be the moicher and the koine together. Masha'enken, when in our story, das acheres makno, there is another person, namely Rabban Gamliel, who is acting as the seller, as the giver, and in that case, you don't have to be next to your field. If I say, hey, Reb Peretz, my dear neighbor, I want to throw into your chatzer £1,000,000, yeah? And let's say chatzer ena mishtamer is at a chanaya over there, yeah, the kids run around, they say, Peretz, £1,000,000, you don't mind, yeah? And I throw it to you. So even though it's ena mishtamer, but I makne to you, then it works. However, if the £1,000,000 fall from Shemaim, from Hefker, yeah, then you have to be next to it. Okay? Because it's weaker. And that we'll elaborate on tomorrow. Thank you very much. Koyach. Atzlocha Rabba. Yom Rishon still, yeah. Next week I hope to be here. Not on Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the Yortzeit of my father. And I have to be very far in different places because of that. Thank you very much. Atzlocha Rabba. Great day and a good Shabbos and a good Gebench.